Good evening, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project, Magnetic Reversal News, and Shinrin Yoku, bringing you a grand solar minimum update. Sunday, August 21st, 2 p.m. Mountain Time 2022. The eruption at Iceland has all but stopped. You can see a little bit of glowing right here, but the major event seems to have shut down. And so that's what we're seeing at Iceland, but the big story worldwide, 18 million under flood threats. An AccuWeather meteorologist put the southern plains on alert for flooding rain. Keep calm, it's boom time. We got a lot of rain coming to the Dallas, Fort Worth area in the next 5 days. In fact, some areas are predicted to get up to 5 or 6 inches of rain, and heavy rain will likely lead to flooding in the southern plains and lower Mississippi Valley over the next few days. Here's the 5-day, and it is looking exceptional with some areas east of Dallas to Jackson, from Shreveport to Jackson and Alexandria could be picking up 8 to 12 inches of rain over the next 5 days, and that could mean catastrophic flooding. As heavy rain hits Utah, flooding businesses and shutting down roads amid safety concerns. The city of Moab, Utah said major flooding had affected businesses in the downtown area, and there are the pictures. Major flooding seen downtown in Moab. Just the other night, there's water flowing, obviously, inside someone's building there. Not good. That's a restaurant in Moab. And here is the 500 West Bridge near Anonymous Park. That's looking pretty devastating. And in case you didn't know, if you see flash flooding and you just think it's a little bit of water, do not try to drive through it if you value your life. That's as simple as I can make it. As searchers are looking for a missing hiker after a flash flood in Zion, it rained almost 10 inches while people were in the Slot Canyon. A few of them were rescued, but one, unfortunately, still missing. Search teams and rescue teams are looking for an Arizona hiker who is missing after flash floods Friday at Zion. Around 2:15 p.m. Friday, National Park Service officials received reports of the flash flood in the Narrows near the Temple of Sinawava. The team are searching for hiker Jatal Angehorti of Tucson, who's overdue from a trip through the Narrows. So hopefully they made it and they're just wandering around the desert now, but probably something else happened there. Now, monsoons caused flooding as well in New Mexico. Stranded drivers between Roswell, the alien capital of the U.S., and Vaughn. New Mexico State Police said several vehicles were stranded along New Mexico 285 Saturday night as authorities shut down the road because of flooding. So heads up in the Four Corners region as well as Texarkana, because there is tons of flooding coming to you.
Flash floods turning roads into rivers across the Southwest. This school bus stranded and teetering in Arizona. Nearly 30 kids taken to the safety of other vehicles through fast-moving water.
They're gonna put them on the back of the truck.
And in Utah's Zion National Park, a search and rescue mission now underway for a person missing near a rising river. 18 million people under flood alerts from Arizona to New Mexico to Texas. Some areas facing as much as 7 inches of rain.
Biggest threat, of course, will be some flash flooding.
Heavy rains have poured down on one of America's driest regions for weeks. This video shows a harrowing rescue operation by the Tucson Fire Department last week. This crew lowering its ladder over a river canyon. Firefighters rescuing 21 adults, 3 children, and 1 baby from the rushing water. Meanwhile, in California, Death Valley National Park is reopening today after flash flooding there stranded 1,000 people 2 weeks ago. And a potential tropical cyclone is gathering force. Already.
And it goes on and on. Are you picking up what we're putting down? Yes. Multi-day flash flood threat in the southern plains and lower Mississippi River Valley. And please heed the warnings. Heavy rains today through the early next week period will result in a multi-day flash flood threat from the southern plains into the lower Mississippi River Valley. Much of this rainfall in the southern plains will be beneficial and welcome due to the effects of the drought, but the potential exists for instances of flash and urban flooding, so heads up in poor drainage areas or saturated regions. Here are your flood warnings and watches right now, southern Oklahoma and North Texas there, so heed the warnings. Click on your county for more information. As we head over to the GFS to check out that precipitation potential. And you can see here just in a few days. By Thursday, you're looking at 6 and 7 inches in some parts of Louisiana and Texas. So heads up in those regions, and lots of precipitation coming to the south through the end of the model, as well as the Four Corners region. So flooding potential for southern New Mexico and southern Arizona, central Arizona through the end of August. So heads up if you're in those regions. And it's not just the United States, folks. Floods and landslides kill dozens as monsoon rains lash northern India. Take a look at this devastating flooding here. This is a railroad bridge that is completely gone. And that is happening in eastern India, a headline coming out today, as well as flash flooding in Bavaria, Austria, as heat waves breaks. Look at this entire community underwater there in Bavaria. And also in New Zealand, authorities warn more heavy rain to hit flooded South Island. You can see historic flooding right there. This flooded area seen on the South Island city of Nelson, New Zealand, while they maintain a state of emergency in parts of the flood-battered South Island. All over the world, flash flooding kills dozens in Afghanistan and Pakistan. Local officials in eastern Afghanistan and neighboring Pakistan say heavy flooding from seasonal rains has left dozens dead overnight. Sign of the times. Seismic update. No quakes of note. Most recent quake just happening, kicking off in Walker, California there. We've got some mid-ocean ridge activity here. It's just south of Iceland. 5.1 on the Reykjanes Ridge. Maybe that's a re-energizing of Fagradalsfjall volcano. But right now, only degassing dominates the eruption site, and it might come to an end, according to volcanologists there. Now, during the past 3 days, the activity decreased enough to disappear the lava fountains in the crater, and the volcanic tremor has rapidly dropped and shows almost no amplitude. We shared you those graphs yesterday. And, well, just coming over to the volcano live, you can clearly see that a lot of people that have traveled out here to get a glimpse of this volcano that arrived yesterday, well, they hiked all the way out and they didn't see anything. So if you've scheduled a flight out to Iceland to see the eruption, I hope it gets reactivated for you. But there's really nothing to see there. So you're looking at like a 10-mile round-trip hike to see a bunch of steaming lava. Not a good thing. Here we are over at, let me just turn this volume off. Here we are over at the Reykjanes Peninsula. Earthquakes during the last 48 hours, and you can see very little activity. One quake above 3 a couple days ago, but a little flurry of activity here. Maybe the volcano could be coming back to life, but if anywhere, it looks like in a different area, it might erupt. So we'll keep a close eye on Iceland as the activity there is coming to a close. Now, space weather, we just had a little uptick into the sea range, but overall, last 2 days has been very low. And the KP is back up at 4, and I'm going to show you why that is now, which means that the aurora potential tonight could be kind of nice. Now, what we have on the WSA Enlil spiral is an event that should be coming here in the form of multiple CMEs that are going to clip Earth in just a few hours. It might have just happened with that kick up of the solar wind, so let's take a look and see what's happening here. Well, we have a little bit of rise in plasma speed, but nothing happening yet. We should look for a phi angle shift in the BZ, and a jump up of all the telemetry in yellow, blue, and green. And that will be the passage of the CME that is predicted to happen any time today, the rest of the day. So that could kick this back up into KP5, depending on how big of a shock wave hits. And we're just waiting to see what's happening in just a few hours. So keep a close eye on the Discover Solar Wind if you want to follow when the CME is going to hit. Now, medieval monks were riddled with worms, according to a study. Archaeologists from the Cambridge Archaeological Unit excavate the remains of friars buried in the grounds of the former Augustine Friary in central Cambridge. And when we think of medieval friars, we may well picture Robin Hood's jolly Friar Tuck, known for his rotund figure and love of food and drink. But it turns out some of the monks were full of more than just cake and ale. According to the study released Friday, Augustinian friars in medieval England were nearly twice as likely to suffer from intestinal parasites than other people, despite most monasteries being equipped with washing facilities. And so that's interesting. Dirty little monks, weren't they? Now, the mystery of Arizona's meteor crater has been solved. And who knew there was a mystery? Well, in fact, the mystery was that based on current information, you can't make a crater like this based on any observational asteroids. Now, what they're saying here is that the asteroid was much slower than expected. The big hole in the ground, 570 feet deep, 4,100 feet wide, was blown into existence about 50,000 years ago by an asteroid roughly 130 feet wide. But previous calculations had the rock slamming into the ground no less than 34,000 miles per hour. And this just doesn't work out or create a crater that looks like this. The new calculation, about half the original 30,000-ton bulk remnant intact, smacking the planet at only 26,800 miles per hour, said the study's lead researchers, Jay Maloche. So the object that hit Meteor Crater was slow-moving, and, well, that's all we know. The mystery has been solved. Now, one of the dumbest things I've seen in a while is millions of dollars spent to grow, well, a few basil plants in some Tupperware. And this Italian farm sits 8 meters under the ocean. And let's just take a look at what it takes to grow plants under the ocean. World right now, it's clown world, basically. Now, what's not clown world is my interview with the infamous Dr. Paul Laviolette. I published the old interview on Magnetic Reversal News, and the cover photo is, in fact, this, what we're looking at here, Fermi Bubbles. And so if you didn't know about Fermi Bubbles, in 2010, gamma ray observations by Fermi revealed previously unknown features in our galaxy that stretch halfway across the sky, now called the Fermi Bubbles. So what we're looking at is the Milky Way on edge here. We're somewhere out here way at the outside. Here's the center. And according to what they've imaged here, these bubbles are due to plasma jets at the center of our galaxy. And what they say here is the black hole at the center of the galaxy, but that's completely ludicrous. But absolutely interesting, these giant bubbles exist, and they are huge. They are enormous. In fact, the size of them span a total of 50,000 light years. So that is a huge structure in our Milky Way, and they're called Fermi Bubbles. So go check out the video with Dr. Paul Laviolette, and click all the links below if you want to know more. And that's a boom to knowledge. Proper prior planning prevents piss poor performance. In a dystopian clown world, you tune in to the Oppenheimer Ranch Project for, well, a breath of fresh air. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Share this with like-minded people. And be a hero. Become a Patreon and support the work we do. We love you. Be safe.